RP RP show continues, and ladies and gentlemen, before we switch to baseball, I did have a note. A hockey person watching the show: $600,000 per year is the reported NIL money to Gavin McKenna, bolting the Medicine Hat Tigers for the Penn State Nittany Lions, NCAA. The Blue Jays going for their 11th straight victory this afternoon in Chicago, their longest win streak since 2015. Joining us to talk about it, our friend Scott Belford. He's our friend now from the Walk Off Podcast. How you doing, Scott?
Rod, I could not be better. I mean, the Blue Jays are winning, and it's always more fun when the team you're covering wins.
It's funny you say that because there's a debate raging on that in the YouTube chat right now. But Scott, before we go any further, I'm interested. And first of all, thanks for the time and coming on the show today. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Absolutely.
I'm intrigued.
Well, I'm a professional stand-up comedian, so I tour the country, I play cruise ships, I'm all over the place. And the whole reason I got into this podcast is that when COVID hit and shut us all down and I wasn't able to work, I started just to keep myself sane doing a podcast about something I love, which is the Toronto Blue Jays. And it kind of blew up into one of the most viewed podcasts when it comes to baseball in the country. So, yeah, that's kind of how I started following the Blue Jays so closely.
Well, we could sit here and talk baseball anytime. I'll just ask you something about stand-up comedy. Listen, you're on to talk baseball, but they say, and I'm a professional speaker here myself, I've been doing it for decades, that stand-up comedy is the most difficult gig to make a living at. I mean, it's not easy to be a doctor or a fireman, okay? Let's not get it twisted.
Mm-hmm.
But that stand-up comedy is the hardest profession. If you agree with that, I'm not sure that you do, but if you do, why would people say that?
Well, Rod, that is probably coming from people who have great fears of talking in public. I'll tell you what, I have done a lot of different jobs, and it is definitely not near as hot or as difficult as working in a warehouse or unloading trucks or driving through
Right.
downtown Toronto. It is, in my opinion, I get such a high off of it, and I love it so much, and I love the connection with a crowd, and you feel almost powerful when you can get a big group of people to laugh at the things you think are funny. So personally, it's my preferred career choice. I don't find it all that difficult. But that said, I've been on stage thousands of times and have been doing this for 18 years. So the fear of talking in public might have just been beat out of me.
Well, I tell you, I love the answer, man. I love your energy. I love your spirit. That's the perfect answer. Maybe we'll come back on that because I'm not done on it. But we're here to talk
Sure.
baseball. The Walk Off Podcast. I had Jamie Campbell on here yesterday from the Blue Jays, and he did not see this hot stretch coming from the Blue Jays, nor being in first place in the second week in July or this close to the All-Star game. How about you?
I mean, first of all, love Jamie Campbell. He's been on the show numerous times, and I'm with him. This has definitely been a surprise. I think when the season started, I kind of had in my mind that this team could be good. They could be a wild card team, and they could probably win a playoff game for the first time in 9 years. Did I expect them to be the number one team in the AL East? I sure didn't, Rod, but it has definitely been a nice turn of events. And it's been really interesting to watch how they've done it, which is in a fashion you don't see very often in baseball, right? Next man up is something that happens in football. It's something that happens in hockey, but baseball is so player development orientated. And from the draft to the time you actually see these kids can be 3, 4, 5 years. So it's really difficult to accumulate depth that is ready to step in. And it has just kind of all come together for the Blue Jays. I mean, we're seeing it on the offense side of things. Somebody goes down like Dalton Varsho or Anthony Santander, and you watch guys like Addison Barger come up and fill a need in the middle of that batting order, which is almost an impossible feat to do, right? To just lose your home run hitter and have someone from AAA come up and do what the guy you just paid $100 million over 5 years was supposed to do. So they are getting contributions from everyone in this team, and it is a really fun team to watch for just that reason. We're seeing everyone contribute.
You know, one thing people say about this show is it's refreshing and it's not the same stuff every day with what you get on other Canadian networks and for sure American. And I find my chat with you very refreshing today on the Blue Jays. And I like to get a lot of different opinions. You know, knowing full well the Blue Jays have won nothing yet, but having a great
Mhm.
first half. Who should get the credit for this?
You know what? I actually hate to say this, Rod, because at the beginning of the season, I was pounding the drum to it's time to move on from this front office. Atkins has had enough rope. He's been with this team and the general manager for the last coming on 10 years now, and maybe it's time for some fresh blood and a new perspective. And you know what? We always give credit to players when they learn from mistakes and they grow and they become more than maybe people thought they could. You never really see the front office or coaches given the same sort of rope, right? You don't give them the opportunity to grow and get better at their job. It's normally you get one or two shots and it's time to move on. But you know what? This front office has changed the way that they are implementing their hitting plan, the way that they have allowed the players to kind of guide what they most want has been impressive. I know that some of the veterans came out last season, Kevin Gosman, Chris Bassett at the forefront, who is like, we don't really like the way that the analytics and the plans are being implemented, and they listened to the players and they allowed them to adjust, and we're really seeing the fruits of that labor in this, because if you look at this roster, it's not all that different, Rod, from last year. You're watching a lot of these guys that they called the Buffalo Boys in 2024 stepping up and doing what they were hoping they would do last year. And I think that you need to give a little bit of credit to Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro for not knee-jerk reactioning, not overhauling in a huge way, which is something that, you know, the fans were calling for, right? When you watch your favorite team lose, you want to see some upheaval if it's not working. And they kind of stuck with the process, and we're seeing it work right now. I'm not, by the way, giving all of the credit to the front office, because we're watching some really big stuff coming out of guys like George Springer. Ernie Clement is going to be a 5-win above replacement player, which who in the world would have called that at the beginning of the season? We're seeing Eric Lauer, who was a scrap heap claim out of Korea, hadn't even played Major League Baseball in the last 2 years, get picked up and literally be the best starter in this rotation. So a lot has gone right for the Blue Jays. But that said, when it's coming from guys you maybe wouldn't expect, you need to give credit to player development, which is that's the front office.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of kernels in what you said there. By the way, Bomber Boy is watching in Calgary. He says the team and the hitting coach should get the most credit. Well, to say the team is a very large target to say, but you know, when you say players are performing above what they have or getting more out of them, usually it's John Schneider. Usually it's the manager. You would say he's gotten more out of the guys, but it's not like he's a first-year guy. Right? So I want to give John Schneider some credit, but I'm with you. I don't want to give it to Shatkins either. But
No,
I
I
feel
don't.
like we have to.
Your commenter's right as well. You know what? Like, David Popkins is a big part of this hitting philosophy change that we've watched within this organization. And who hired him? Right? Like, who is implementing these hitting changes? It's obviously coming from the top. And again, I am a guy who is calling for Atkins' head 6 months ago. I'm not trying to give it all to the front office, because obviously it doesn't all lie within the front office. But there is some aspects to what we're seeing that has been the process, right? And so to look within yourself as a general manager and be like, you know what, the things that I valued were probably a little off skew, and to work to change that philosophy, and to sit down with your veterans and see which direction they want to go. You know what? There's something to be said for that. And this is a first place team in the American League East, the toughest division in baseball. So something's working. They're on to something.
Yeah, well, and we've been talking this a bit on the program today about today's athlete and how they lip you off, and they're not bad people, but they want to say in what goes on. You know, when I was a kid, I didn't have a say what went on in my house with my parents. I didn't have a say what went on at the radio stations I worked at. That's what but now you do. Now you
Shut
do.
up and do what you're told.
Right. But that doesn't work that way anymore. And clearly, I didn't know that the Blue Jays had the players in. It's awesome that they say that. I appreciate that. Now, just for as much as I follow Major League Baseball. I mean, I'm broadcasting baseball in the summer here, Western Canadian Baseball League. That's where my attention is. Would it be a fair question or a good question to say what's the bigger all-star snub? Juan Soto or George Springer?
Ooh, that is a good one. You know what? As a homer, I'm probably going to go with George Springer. I do understand the snub because he has been exceptionally hot in the last 2 weeks. So a lot of the voting and a lot of the decisions that were being made happened right before or as he was at his absolute best and kind of pushed his numbers up. Juan Soto, I think that when you just look at what has happened with the Mets and who their superstars have been this year, and the fact that every team needs to send at least one guy. Is Juan Soto one of the top guys on the Mets that deserves to go? Probably not. They probably got that one right. So I'm going to lean towards George Springer for the answer there. But honestly, we are all well aware of the talent that Juan Soto is and what he can bring to a ball club. So, you know what? The All-Star game, in my opinion, is not all that important anyways.
Scott Belford with us from the Walk Off podcast. And, I sit here and I don't we have the same. You're working with Joe now, right?
Yes,
Joe,
sir.
747 Gunnis. Again, we have the same speaker agent, well, he's my business manager. I'm not sure he's yours, but same speaker agent. And so you may or may not know that I spend most of my time in the USA where I'm a permanent resident. So, but people complain in both countries. Everybody complains.
Yes.
So with the announcement of the All-Star rosters, the point I'm getting to here is a lot of the media, more so than fans, were bitching about all 30 teams represented with All-Stars. And people are like, this needs to end. And I'm like, you don't understand. Unless you agree with those people, Scott. I don't. I've been around sports my whole life. You got to have an all-star from every team to have every market interested in the damn game.
Yeah.
Your thoughts? Because have you heard the argument?
Well, I mean, I get the argument. You look at teams like the White Sox, you look at teams like the Rockies, and it's pretty tough to justify having someone from there, but I'm with you. In a game that really doesn't mean all that much, to snub a couple of markets, like full markets, fans that are investing their energy, their time, their emotional well-being in their team, it would be a real shame, in my opinion, even though the Rockies are a disaster, even though the White Sox are a disaster, to snub the fans that are still following along. I don't think there's any value in that personally.
Ryan is watching in Saratoga, New York. He says, Seiya Suzuki from the Cubs is a huge all-star snub. Dude leads the MLB in RBIs. Again, I mean, I just hear the complaining. I don't really go and delve into where it's coming from. Complaining is complaining to me. And by the way, folks, if you're complaining, it means you're not happy. Might be a signal from another area of your life. It's just coming out in what you're complaining about. I'm just saying. I don't know how much you know about me, but I work in that field, the mental health field. If you're complaining, you're not happy. What are you complaining about? And can you control it? Like if you bitch that the Rockies shouldn't have an all-star. You talk about bad teams. White Sox, too. The Nationals just fired their coach and their GM. What are we going to snub every bad team? We can't do that. And from a business perspective, I'm with you on the engaging the fans. We might sell a little merchandise. You think we might sell some merchandise in Denver and Chicago and Washington? Like, that's not a business mindset, people that are saying that.
They're not even small markets. I mean, the three we just mentioned are literally massive markets in the U.S., and to snub them would be really a shame and really crazy, in my opinion, as well. So I'm right there with you on this one, Rod. And again, when it comes to the All-Star game, I think we should, as fans, just sit back and enjoy watching the talent because it really doesn't mean all that much anymore, especially since they've changed the rule to National or American League. They used to, whoever won it would hand over home field advantage in the World Series, and they don't do that anymore. So it's pretty much just a fanfare where you get to watch your favorite players or the best talent in baseball. And if there's a few that maybe are getting snubbed, that's life, man.
Bomber Boy writes in, he says, I love George Springer, but he's not playing D this season, and that hurts his chances. Sure. But again, I love all the opinions. These guys aren't complainers, these people that are watching this show. Will you be, I'm assuming you host the Walk-Off podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be watching, right? Yeah, you just won't be riveted on the edge of your seat.
I love the home run derby. I'm excited for that, and I will absolutely be watching the All-Star game. I mean, if there's a reason to sit back, put my feet up, and have a beer and watch baseball, I'm going to take it, Rod.
Yeah, it's as much about entertainment. That's what people have not realized. It's never going to be about winning anymore in these All-Star games. So can you at least sit back and enjoy the show? Because the show will be great. But
Mhm.
again, this is the first time we've had you on, and I hope to do it many more times. I want to know a little more about you with this stand-up comedy thing that you do. So you're in Calgary.
I'm actually based out of Toronto right now. So I was in
Okay, why did I
Calgary
think
last
Calgary?
year. Hey,
Oh,
it
okay.
happens. I move all over the place, Rod. I can't help uproot my life every couple of years here. But yeah, I'm in Toronto right now, so I spend most of my time in the summer in the city. I do a lot of baseball orientated live shows and stuff like that. I've actually got a baseball town show going tomorrow. So if you're a Blue Jays fan on the off day and you're in Toronto, come check it out at Comedy Bar. And then come the fall, I hit the road. I'm a road dog. I do a lot of tours throughout the country, west, east, Ontario. I fly out to Florida and hop on cruise ships from time to time. So I'm
Mm,
a jack of all places, if you will.
so I live in South Florida, working in the entertainment field for decades. I got a lot of friends in these areas. I got friends that work on cruise ships, and I often say to them, next time you go to work, I'll go with you. They all just, you can't. Okay, well, I'd like to just come for the day, but I guess that just doesn't work that way. What is the most annoying question you get when people find out that you're a stand-up comic?
Tell me a joke. Do you have a joke?
Say,
This tends to be the one that annoys me the most. Question wise, it always rubs me the wrong way. I don't know why it is like this with entertainment. People feel a little bit more open to ask you about your pay, which is one where I'm like, I don't know, you wouldn't be asking almost any other profession about this. It's weird that that's the question you have for me. But honestly, for the most part, people just want to know about the industry a little bit, right? It is kind of a shrouded in mystery industry, and just finding out where I'm going and what a regular day looks like is normally where people tend to go with this sort of stuff, or they have a joke that they want to tell me.
oh yeah, I'm sure they're real funny. We got about a minute left. Who's your favorite comedian?
Right now, I really enjoy Shane Gillis. One of the guys that really got me into comedy was Brian Regan back in the day, and Regan was just incredible because he just the amount of respect I have for a guy who can be as funny as he is and as clean as he is very impressive to me. And then you know what? If you want to just go back to the old dogs, I mean, honestly, George Carlin is king. Like I don't want to just be too typical here, Rod, but that's kind of the guys that I kind of grew up with. Like I'm 43, so like I still had the records you'd put on. My grandma had some comedy records that I'd put on and listen to as a kid, so that's kind of what got me into it. And then I mean, I could list a bunch of Canadian comics that are incredible that I really respect right now.
Great job. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you. There you go. Scott Belford from the Walk Off Podcast. Wrapping it up with him. I'll talk more about it when we come back right here live on Game Plus TV.